What's going on? Welcome back to Financial Journey. So today I want to talk to you about XPeng. I want to give you a quick overview of some of the data points, what's been coming out from the company itself, and where I see things going from here. Before I get into any of that, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up, and with that, let's get right to it. Starting off, it did go up 2.64% on Friday, 1044 the low, 1098 the high. Somewhat good volume for a Friday, so 16.07 million shares being traded, 16.4 is the average. So it did piggyback off of the good data coming out from China. So in case you don't know, GDP, unemployment, retail sales, all absolutely phenomenal numbers, even industrial production. So essentially, this is the best case scenario that did play out for Chinese stock. So everything ran up. The only reason why it started to pull back is because of big money didn't really buy into the hype, if that kind of makes sense. Because even looking on the secondary market, you do see two transactions occurring on Friday, and regrettably, they both were sells. 1.28 million and then 1.06 million happening at the exact same time. So it is fair to assume that this is one entity, but still clearly shows that big money wasn't really buying into it. So based on the volume, of course, being at 16.07 million, majority of the volume did come from algorithmic trading as well as shorts. And that could be kind of said throughout all ADRs, but as of late, there hasn't been all that much in news from the company itself. Last one was at the beginning of October, just their record month-over-month kind of delivery numbers. I believe it was up 39%, so generally pretty good stuff. At the same time, you do see a lot of good demand that's been coming out from China. So the last news or latest in EV stats did show that China sales in August 2024 were up 38%. So there's a lot of demand there, and I think in reality this company is doing a fairly good job of kind of taking some market share. On a side note, this is my very first video covering XPeng. So I'm just kind of seeing how things are. This was at a lot of requests from a lot of subscribers. So again, this is kind of where the basis of this is coming from. But essentially, as of right now, even looking at the PS ratio with it really moving up higher, it's still 1.9 versus a future of 1.3. So still relatively discounted in comparison to a lot of North American peers. But comparing it to China, it's somewhat in line. So it's just one of those things that it's been suppressed because of it being a Chinese company. But shorts aren't really all over it. So 6.37% of the free float is being shorted. Works out to be 38.85 million shares Friday. Shorts did return 118,000 shares, so somewhat validating the green day, and this is why I like to analyze this type of information. But 1.03% of is that cost to borrow. Short score 61.7, so the higher the number, the higher the likelihood of a squeeze happening, so I don't see this being a squeeze play. And then utilization 77.98, and generally just looking at what shorts have been doing, it looks like there was a high of roughly around 10%. That was in June. But since then, they have returned quite a lot. So in my opinion, definitely it's that this is a good thing that at least shorts aren't all over this. But aside from that, moving over to quickly Analyst. So popping over to IBKR just to give you guys a quick overview of what that is saying. So there was a new rating that did come out on Friday, $15 buy rating by DBS. It says unknown analyst, so that's always pretty good info. But aside from that, 6 days ago, 1460 hold City, Jeff, who has a 40% success rating. Then $9 days ago, sorry, $14 buy rating. JP Morgan, Nick, who has a 38% success rating. Just a lot of analysts in the EV sector have horrible ratings because EVs haven't really gone according to plan all that much. Eugene with Macquarie, if that, whatever, just upgraded, no actual price target. They have a pretty good rating, but as a consensus, $11 is that price target, and that does represent 4.86% upside. But moving on from here though, the latest Morningstar report also does show the fair market value being $12.20. So I think in reality, this is kind of the most appropriately priced Chinese EV out there. I could be wrong, so let me know you guys' thoughts on that. But quickly moving to options. So on Friday, 1.17 million in calls, 487,000 in puts. 51% of all the options being done on Friday were bearish. And of the call options that were purchased, you see a consensus for it to be around that $11 range by next week. Some consensus for it to be oddly around $12 by November the 15th. And then looking at the puts, you see a consensus for it to be sub 1050. So in my opinion, there is a little bit more upside anticipated. So even the bears are anticipating more of a kind of push higher into the next little bit. So I don't know if it's associated just with the actual optimism associated to this, or whether it is going to be their next PR that does come out showing their, I guess, October numbers. So yeah, what's your guys' thoughts on that in the comments below? Aside from all of that fun jazz though, right now with it at $10.49, it is trading between this S1 and the pivot. So $9.16 is going to be the strong support. Luckily enough, it hasn't been touched in a while. And then on the flip side, $11.30 is going to be that next strong resistance slash target on the actual chart itself. So it is lower percentile right now, so it's gone down quite a lot. But once again, as I kind of said, it's somewhat holding its value a little bit better. So despite even still the lack of institutions really getting in, it is still holding its value in comparison to a lot of its peers. Stochastic, you see it very oversold. So if a good piece of news does come out, so their next big catalyst, then you could see a rush of value investors getting in. But as of right now, a little bit more of a bearish deviation, so red line above the white. But number of retail investors have been getting the hell out, with the exception of Friday. They were somewhat getting back in. So yeah, that's a quick summary of XPeng. So what's your guys' viewpoint on that? Is this what stands out about this company over other EVs? This is my very first video covering them. Like I said, it was at a request of a subscriber. So what makes you guys want to buy XPeng versus others? Is it more of a discounted or better potential, better tech? What's your guys' viewpoint on all of this? So give yourself a shout out if you've been buying, if you've been selling, what have you guys been doing? And two things I want to share with you. Take advantage of this promo. It does give you 8 free stocks. Each stock is valued up to $2,000. So this is a kick-ass deal that you must take advantage of. And as well, I did launch memberships. So if you like my channel, want me to cover XPeng, for instance, continuously a little bit more, add it to the mix, then definitely join as a member. Plus, there is also a tier for buy signals on stocks and options. So there's a tier for everyone. So with that said, appreciate all of you guys watching.